France immediately deports radical imam for insulting the national flag. France demonstrated its stringent stance on hate speech and disrespect towards national symbols by deporting Tunisian Imam Mahjoub Mahjoubi, who made derogatory remarks about the French flag, labeling it satanic and asserting that it held, quote, no value with Allah. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin swiftly responded to the controversy, leveraging the country's recent immigration reforms to expedite Mahjoubi's expulsion, stating, quote, the radical Imam Mahjoub Mahjoubi has just been expelled from the national territory less than 12 hours after his arrest. This is the demonstration that the immigration law, without which such rapid expulsion would not have been possible, makes French stronger. We won't let anything go. Foreign Minister, the Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, he does not mess around. Mahjoubi's remarks not only disparaged the tricolor, but were also part of a broader hate speech allegations, according to the order from the French courts, including against Jewish people, according to French media. Despite his subsequent apology and claims of slip of the tongue, Mahjoubi faces the consequences of France's stricter immigration laws designed to deport individuals who, quote, pose a grave threat to public order or undermine the values of the republic. So let me provide a little background context here. According to the reporting that I have seen in English, I don't speak French. This man has been accused of many other things, undermining the values of the republic, promoting enmity and difference between the Jewish community, promoting hatred of the Jews, promoting misogyny against women. He's also accused of insulting the national flag. And so this is an interesting thing where, especially for free speech absolutists or maximalists, whatever, the instance of France often comes up because if you insult the flag, you can be criminalized for that. You can face prosecution for that. And so this guy apparently said that the tricolor had no value with Allah and he labeled it satanic. And when this recording or whatever was raised to the attention of the authorities, they arrested him and deported him within less than 24 hours of his arrest. Now, he says, oh, when I was referring to the tricolor, I was not talking about the French flag. I was talking about the flag of a football team in the Maghreb region that has three colors, and that was the tricolor I was talking about. So meanwhile, he's back in Tunisia, living in his in-laws' house and preparing to fight this, fight it legally, go for appeal, etc., etc. But he's already been kicked out of the country because this man was not a citizen. He's been in France for the past almost 40 years. So he came to France when he was around the age of 14, but he was not a citizen. He was never a citizen. He was just a legal resident. And they caught him running his mouth and they yeeted him. So Armin, what is your reaction to this?
Okay, is anybody talking about free speech in our live chat? Because, like, what about his free speech? Is anybody mentioning that?
I have not been looking at the live chat because I was explaining the situation to you.
Yeah, so free speech, like, should be, it's a right that you have as a citizen. It should be, like, to be fair, France does not have the same level of free speech that you have in the US, and I like US more when it comes to free speech because of that. I like France when it comes to secularism more than United States, but I like United States when it comes to free speech more than France. However, even if France did have United States level free speech, it will still not cover this, because what I want is, rights that are given to you as a citizen. You are not owed protection under the law equal to every citizen of the country if you're not a citizen. That's a privilege. So when we say the government should not take any actions against you because of your positions or because of your views that you have, that does not cover everybody. And it can't. For example, if you want to become a US citizen, even a US citizen, which we have free speech laws more than any other country, if you have anti-US positions, the government should not give you citizenship. Once you become a citizen, you could have anti-US positions because that's free speech, but you are not owed a citizenship if you have anti-Semitic views, if you are anti-US views, right? If you have anti-LGBT views. And what about free speech? Yeah, you get free speech if you're a citizen. We are talking about rights of a country, the freedoms and rights that you enjoy in a country is owed to you because you're a citizen of that country. And he wasn't. So this is completely fair game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I don't know how to articulate this, but this because I never understood what was the point of the insult to national symbols law in France. And in a vacuum, I disagree with it, right? Because, for example, I think if someone burns the American flag in America, that is well within their right, that is protected under the First Amendment. And in fact, some people literally burn the American flag to show their appreciation for First Amendment protections, right? It's like, it might seem backwards to some people, but it's literally an expression of how much they value their First Amendment right. So some people might perceive burning it as like an anti-national thing, but for some people it actually is a very national thing. But one thing I know is that France does not mess around with undermining values of the Republic. They do not mess around. And so, in a sense, I kind of see how this is a filter. If
Right.
if you are a citizen, guaranteed citizenship, I don't like having that law on the books, but now I kind of understand how it can be a filter of sorts.
It should be a filter.
And yeah, so France has these new immigration laws that we've been talking about for a while now. And there's been lots of back and forth with the different houses of parliament and so forth. But yeah, they are not fucking around. And French's Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, again, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly in French. We've been I've been familiar with him for a while now because he's been part of Macron's government for a very long time, as long as I've been a part of Atheist Republic. And in these cases of Islamism or Islamic separatism within French society, he always comes up. And this man takes this issue of separatism, of creation of separate societies very seriously. It's a primary concern, and he is not messing around. Sending strongly worded emails, shall we say. And this was another expression of that. And it's really interesting to see how many European countries across the board are revising their immigration laws to allow expedited deportation. Germany is going through a phase right now of changing their laws to expedite deportation. And I think we're going to see that trend continue.
I want to respond to Kenny. Kenny is saying rights should cover everyone, though. It literally can't, and it shouldn't. What are we talking about? If rights covered everybody, then that would completely remove the point of having a citizenship. The entire point. What does a citizenship even mean? The definition of a citizenship is based on you now having certain rights that you didn't if you weren't If rights were equal for citizens and non-citizens, then technically you wouldn't even have citizenship. Citizenship means that you have right to, I don't know, like the medical care that the government provides you, and people who are not citizens don't. It gives you a passport, which gives you rights to travel, gives you a certain mobility that non-citizens don't have. It gives you a right to vote. You're saying rights should cover everyone? Should the right to vote be for everyone? Like, obviously you cannot, like, if as a citizen you have the right to vote, should non-citizens have a right to vote? Obviously no. The whole point of citizenship is to give equal rights to your citizens. You are, as a government, you are responsible for your citizens. That's the whole point of having a government. Also, when it comes to people's values and speech, you have to have a filter for values when you're accepting citizens. If you have free speech for our citizens, but obviously you cannot have that for your non-citizens, because if you have that for your non-citizen, that will completely remove the value-based system that you could have, the value-based filter that you could have for accepting citizens. If you have free speech, means no consequences for your values as a non-citizen for you to become a citizen, that means no matter what values you have, that should not affect your citizenship application. If you want to apply that right to non-citizen, that means you could support ISIS. And that could not affect your citizenship application. You could be anti-Semitic. You could be anti-LGBT. You could literally want to destroy the country that you're applying the citizenship for, and that would not affect your citizenship application. That's what you're asking for, which makes no sense. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
So D is bringing up the point of what happens if the origin country refuses to take them back. So this man was not a French citizen, meaning that he still is a citizen of the state in which he originated, which would be Tunisia. But the problem is like, because, for example, I don't know if you receive a French citizenship, if you have to give up your citizenship to any other country. I don't know if that's the case, but that's not the case with this man anyways. Are you perhaps thinking of the case of Shamima Begum? Because that's different, because she actually had her full citizenship revoked. And that's complicated. And actually, she recently lost her appeal to get her British citizenship back. Do you think we should cover that, Armin? Because that is a really big case. I mean, that covering Shamima Begum got demonetized last time for like over a year.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Don't touch that case. We got like our channel was completely destroyed because of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, D is saying, I was thinking about people stuck in Syria because the West won't take them back. That's a little bit different because that's an issue of citizenship, not residency, usually. But yeah, that is a huge problem that needs to be addressed because we're just fostering the next generation of ISIS in the middle of Al-Hol, which is a freaking hellhole.
We got a
Shout
super
out
chat
to the Syrian Defense Forces, by the way. Shouts out to the Kurds freaking keeping ISIS on lockdown. Y'all doing the real work out there. For real. Yes. Fighting Islamists tooth and nail. They do not mess around. Which is so funny. I've seen a lot of Kurds at pro-Israel protests. Like waving the Kurdish flag, freaking doing their awesome Kurdish dances. Because they're like, yeah, we have experience, real life experience of the consequence of Islamists and fighting them to the death. We don't mess around and we have no illusions about what comes with this. No illusions. Cajun American gave a super chat saying it's not just Ottoman, it's all Turkish states. I think you're talking about the last news in the rise of the...
I mean, that's why they call it an empire, because it will cover multiple states. The Ottoman Empire will be if the bringing back of the Ottoman Empire requires it covering multiple Turkish states, because that's what empires are. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.